everybody. Welcome back to the Dice Tower. My name is Chris Yi.
I'm Mike Di-Yi-sio.
Today we're doing, Mike, something a little bit, I don't want to say bold, I don't want to say daring, but it's a question and answer session.
Is that what this is? Oh, look, I need to get prepared for this. This is auspicious, I would say. This is an auspicious decision to make, Chris, to have us both involved in a Q&A session. This is, we're crossing annexes here, Chris. This is pretty, oh, I got to remember, if I bump my table, Chris, you see what happens?
It looks really good.
I can't bump the table. What's that? It sounds nice. Yes, yeah. I agree.
I'll bump the table on my side just to make things fair. Yes.
Doesn't work.
All right, fine. Well, Mike, what we're doing today, this is the last live thing that we're doing this week. And I'm going to give the chat a few seconds here to prep some questions for us to go through. How do you say it on Sporadically Bored? Rapid fire, like, right?
Rapid fire, and that's where the rapid fire roundup came from, by the way.
Is it?
I mean, a little riff on the Sporadically Bored segment, yeah.
I'm glad we started doing those.
Yeah, me too. While we're waiting for questions to come, what are some interesting games you've played recently? And interesting could be good, bad, or indifferent.
We're going to
Actually, it doesn't even need to be interesting, Chris. What are some games you've played recently?
None. No. Shipwrights of the North Sea Redux came in, and I've soloed that a lot to try to get a feel of it. Played it. I see you pointing at it, Michael. Played it multiplayer a few times. I want to get another multiplayer game in, because I can speak to the solo mode a lot at this point, and so I want to be able to compare and contrast a little bit more. That's one that comes to mind. Dark Tower, Return to Dark Tower. We've been playing with the Covenant expansion. So.
Okay.
Yeah. What about
Chris,
yourself,
have you
sir?
played Keltay yet?
I have not. No.
Yeah, Tom and I are reviewing that one next week, so I don't want to say too much, other than we all know it has a very striking cover. If you've never seen the cover for Keltay, check it out on BGG, Board Game Geek. It's a beautiful, beautiful cover. I think it was in our competition of covers, and if that is true, and it didn't make it to the finals, then it got robbed. It's an amazing, amazing cover.
It's really good. I think it was in the best covers of last year. We did that as a specific video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That's the one I meant. The one that Ice won, which I can't complain about that because I think Ice is a gorgeous cover as well.
Yeah. I was going to say, so just as a quick heads up, so for next week, Monday, the Dice Tower is taking off for President's Day. So we're just going to be completely dark on Monday. And then Tuesday, we're coming back with a few live plays and Board Game Breakfast, all that stuff. So make sure to look forward to the beginning of next week. Mike, your plan worked. We've vamped long enough for questions to start rolling in.
Fantastic.
The first question from Ryan Thiessen here. Morning, everyone. I'm going to my first con ever, and it's in Vegas. That's not a question, Ryan. But
I'm glad that you chose it to talk about, Chris, because it sounds like, I don't want to be too presumptuous, but it sounds like Ryan might be going to Dice Tower West. Tickets still on sale. Now, this is an exciting convention for me because A, it's a great convention. B, I get a chance to see a lot of my West Coast friends out there. C, it's a little bit of a return for me to Las Vegas, but it is much more of a return for you, Chris, to Las Vegas.
Yeah, no, it's home. I still have family out there and everything, and so I'll be flying out a few days before, actually, and just spending some time there with family and friends catching up, and then hitting the con up, and I'm excited. Dice Tower West is like, it's my hometown con, man. I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, no, it's a great convention. Tim has a huge library. Tim, who runs Dice Tower West, it's bigger even than the OG. I'm going to call it that because it is the OG Dice Tower library. I really think that Tom and Tim should get into a cage match where they can both kind of try to show their library dominance. If there's anything that libraries bring out, people, it is intense violence, Chris. So
I agree.
I'm looking forward to that matchup.
My vote's on Bonesaw. Yeah. All right.
All right. Yeah, no, Dice Tower is great. If you get a chance to go, you should go.
Yeah, very excited about West coming up. João, it's one of those Portuguese or Brazilian names that I'm always trying to remember how to pronounce. João, I think. Top trick-taking games.
I think that's right, or close to it.
Top trick-taking games I don't need to fly to Japan to buy, Michael.
It's a fair question, João. It's a fair question. Let me
list
look
off some
around
Korean-only
me.
publications.
I will keep it away from. I will make it things that you can easily get in the United States. Potato Man. Potato Man is a fantastic must-not-follow trick-taking game. It's pretty approachable, so you don't have to be somebody who is, an expert at trick-taking games. And that is now, thankfully, readily available in the United States. So that would be one. I'm going to cheat a little bit because they're a sponsor of the Dice Tower, but I really absolutely love the recent trick-taking games that have come from Allplay. Lunar and Mori. Mori or Mori, Chris?
Mori, I think.
Yeah. You could even put bacon and pies in there as well, but to me the stars are Lunar and Mori, and heck, throw Sail in there too, a 2-player cooperative trick-taking game.
Yeah.
All readily available in the States. And
I know
there are others.
I know the Portland Game Collective was importing in copies of 12-Chip Trick, which we reviewed in that same video where we talked about Potato Man as well. So it's Mandu.
Right, that's where you pulled your 0.5 gambit, Chris. I remember that video well. I'm not thrilled about it. I'm not going to lie. I'm not thrilled about it. Arum from Pandasaurus is another good recent one that you can get. Yeah, it's good. It's good. Gosh, there's so many good trick-taking games. I don't want to alarm you, but we are in a renaissance right now. So if you are interested in trick-taking games, now is your time because publishers are putting them out left and right. Bezier has a new one coming out called Sandbag, and I believe they're going to be having a series of card games they're putting out this year. So lots of trick-taking games out there, good ones.
And seriously, if people haven't played The Crew yet, because many people haven't, jump into that one. It's phenomenal. It was the one that kind of really kicked me back into high gear of wanting to play more and more trick takers.
I think The Crew is pretty responsible for this kind of renaissance of trick-taking games, at least from a publisher standpoint. The success of The Crew and the success of Cat in the Box, I think, are two that you can kind of look to and say, these are the ones that really brought it to back into the forefront in modern gaming.
I agree. Loopy here says...
Sorry, quick, before we jump to Loopy, there is a trick-taking kind of event going on at Dice Tower West, speaking of that. So Tim and Taylor Rayner from Taylor's Trick-Taking Table are involved in that. I don't know exactly what it is yet. I know that I want to be a part of it, though. That's
really cool. Yeah. I know that there was a Hearts tournament last year. I think Tim won the tournament at his own convention.
Tim's a big trick-taking guy, especially like classic trick-taking games.
He is, yeah. All right, let's jump to Loopy's comment here really quick. I want an answer and question session. You guys give us the answers, we guess the questions.
All right, that's good. Here we go. The answer is porpoise.
And the question is clearly, if you could turn into any animal and live that way for exactly 3 months, what's the last animal you would choose? Mike, I can't believe that you said porpoise.
Not the question I had in mind, Chris, but it's it's left open to interpretation.
All right. Question, lake or ocean? Mike.
Oh, I have a strong opinion about this, Chris. It's ocean. I grew up in Southern California, and the ocean is. I'm not going to get too personal or sappy here, but actually, the oceans have a very strong pull for me. Like if I'm visiting an area that is near an ocean, that's really where I want to be. I feel like there's something healing about oceans, and I know that a lot of people, actually, some people that are very close to me, have fear of the ocean. They don't like the dark waters. They don't like the idea of the depth, and I totally get that on an intellectual level. But I can tell you that I never feel fear in an ocean. To me, there's just something, I don't know, magical almost. Isn't it weird? This question got, yeah. This is a great question. Lakes
It's an
are
existential
cool.
question.
It is. Lakes are cool, but I don't think they're anywhere even near. Now, even some of the Great Lakes, around the world, I'm assuming, I only have knowledge of some of the Great Lakes in the United States, feel-ish like oceans, but most lakes that people are kind of going to are the ones that, I don't know, I find them kind of gross, if I'm being honest. Like the bottoms of lakes on your feet, that's usually this weird kind of, I don't know. Ocean for me all day, air day.
I guess you won me over to oceans with talking about the majesty of it. I mean, and we're fortunate enough we get to go on the Dice Tower cruise and see the same ocean from different vantage points, I suppose. There's something pretty magical. Continuing to speak about natural disasters, do they get earthquakes in Indianapolis? Thankfully, no.
Not regularly. There have been earthquakes here in Indianapolis, but I can tell you, I've had a lifetime full of earthquakes in my growing up. I mean, I grew up as I just mentioned, in Southern California, and I lived through many large earthquakes. It seems like wherever I moved, that's where they would go. So I started off in Southern California, and we had the big Northridge earthquake. I have vivid memories of the Northridge earthquake. Unfortunately, one of our dogs ran away and never came back, so that was,
oh, geez,
terrible as a child. And then I moved to Northern California after I graduated high school, and I was in Santa Cruz for what they called the San Francisco earthquake, the one that shut down the World Series. It was not the San Francisco earthquake; it was the Santa Cruz Mountains earthquake. That was by far the largest earthquake I lived through. We lived in a tent for a significant period of time. We had to move to like a vacant lot that was actually everyone on the block in this neighborhood set up tents in this vacant lot. I remember having to run around and turn off gas. It was a big deal going to the grocery store to get the frozen food that they were giving away. Intense.
So what kind of car were you driving at the time?
I was probably, I don't know. I had a car in Northern California that was a 73 Plymouth Valiant that I called Greenpeace because it was green and it was a piece. And I don't know if I don't know if I had it at the time of the earthquake or if I had it after.
Okay. Well, that was
earthquakes, Chris. Now, you would have experienced some earthquakes in Vegas, right?
Very minimal. We get kind of the outer band effects from some of the Southern California ones. But yeah, nothing major. Occasional ones where you're like mostly saying, "Hey, was that an earthquake? I think that was an earthquake." That doesn't really count as experiencing a big earthquake. I like this question a lot, though. Here from Sheila. Heading to a first convention in a few weeks, Dice Tower West. Any etiquette I should be aware of? Can I play a game at a table without knowing rules? And is there any opportunity to play games with a Dice Tower crew member?
You start with this one, Chris.
Okay. Yeah, etiquette, just the same normal human etiquette, right? And Sheila, I'm not targeting you. This is for everybody. Bathe, eat meals, sleep, take care of yourself, all that type of stuff. because the more put together you are, the more fun of a gaming companion you are. And if you walk up to a table and say, hey, can I jump in? You know, that helps. That goes a very far distance. Now, those are the basic things. But really, if you're going to a convention for the first time, one of my favorite things that we do is that we have a lot of signs and flags that people can put up to say extra players wanted or looking for a game teacher. If you just kind of float around and look for those signs, you'll find plenty of games to jump into. If you put up one of those, then you'll be able to, you know, even if you don't know a game, and you say, I've always wanted to learn this one. It's not a guarantee, but odds are good that someone might come by and say, hey, I'd like to teach you this one if I can jump in and play with you or something.
Yeah, just to kind of jump onto that last point you brought up, you know, Sheila was asking specifically, is it okay to sit down to a table if I don't know how to play a game? If you have that yellow flag up, I believe it's going to be the yellow flag, right, for teachers wanted. I know that's what it is for our East Coast conventions. Mm-hmm. If you have the teachers wanted flag up, and you're maybe looking through the rule book because you're not, you know, like Chris said, you can't guarantee it. If other people come to that table and they see that flag, they know you don't know the game, right? And so that kind of takes the pressure off of you there too, because there are, I mean, every time I go to one of our conventions, I'll see someone with a teacher wanted sign up and they're looking through the rule book. So there's kind of that already indication that I don't know this game. I'd like to play this game. You're welcome to come play this game with me. A lot of times you'll see the yellow and green flags, the teacher and the players wanted at the same table. And if someone knows the game, you know, they can come teach you. If they don't know the game, maybe you can kind of learn it together, and no one has an expectation that anyone at the table knows how to play the game. And they're, you know, by sitting at the table, the implication is they're okay with that.
Right. One thing that I would, a basic piece of etiquette, or not basic, but like something I recommend to people is if you walk up to a table and it looks like people are still in the process of getting the game ready, if you say, hey, I'm interested in learning this game, I haven't played it before, do you have room for another? If you've already just taught everything, I totally understand. You know, just those little things that give people the opportunity to say, oh, sorry, we just started. It feels always uncomfortable to have to tell someone like,
yeah,
ooh, we'd have to kind of reset a lot of things to up it one more player. So be understanding with that. But Mike, one of my favorite pieces of advice to give to people is if you have the time and the availability and the opportunity to volunteer a little bit, like volunteer at least even one shift at the library or something. You get to interact with other people in a way that's like super not high stakes. You don't feel like you're putting yourself out there as you are like walking up to a table and saying, can I jump in? Some people are very much uncomfortable with that. But if you volunteer, you have this really easy opportunity to chat with people, and people are going to be coming up to you and approaching you, talking with you, and you know, just little things like saying, "Oh, cool!" as you're checking out someone's game. I love this game. I hope you have fun with it. And then when you see those people around the convention later, that ice has already kind of been broken. You know, it's easier to say, "Hey, good to see you again. Mind if I jump in?"
Yeah, no, it's a really good piece of advice. And the last thing I guess we have not addressed is, can you play with the Dice Tower crew? The answer is, hopefully. I mean, we're certainly going to be around playing games with people. I mean, that's a big part of why we go to these conventions, is to, you know, play games with people. And it's not necessarily only play games with people that we already know. You know, every convention, every one of the Dice Tower crew ends up playing games with people that they're meeting for the first time. So what we don't do, you know, just on a practical level, is schedule these things, make promises. We do our best to be as available as possible. So the short answer is maybe, I hope so, that kind of a thing.
I really do hope so. If you see us walking around, please come up and say hello. If we don't have time to jump into a game, we'd at least love to say hi and talk for a few minutes. You know, even if we're kind of going somewhere, because we do have responsibilities throughout the con, we might say, hey, come walk with me, you know, but yeah, I mean, I hope that we're very approachable.
Yeah, absolutely. The best time to approach us is when we're getting ready to go get something to eat. And then you can be like, you know what? This place is nice, but let me take you to this steakhouse over here. I'd like to treat you to a huge meal. that right, Chris? Is that good? Is that a good move?
Steakhouse is great. Korean barbecue or all-you-can-eat sushi are also very preferable options.
Right. Also, I'm just happy with a Snickers bar. So there's that, too.
You're not yourself when you're hungry. Mike, the next question here.
Packed with peanuts, Snickers really satisfies.
Looking for that sponsorship here. Casper asks, it seems the Dice Tower criminally underrates Everdell. What are your feelings on it, and how do you rate the expansions?
How on earth does the Dice Tower crew criminally... I disagree with the premise. I disagree with the fundamental premise.
I think
I rated it highly. Z's rated it highly. Camilla's rated it highly. I honestly am a little surprised by the question.
I am too. I've only played the app.
I've played the game, the expansions all the way up to Spirecrest. That may be the last one. I think the game's great. And I don't think there's a lot of negative talk about Everdell. Now, I will say this: there's been pushback against the collector's edition because it's just too big. Maybe that's what the poster is referring to is specifically for that collector's edition. And I can tell you, I personally got rid of my collector's edition. It wasn't coming off the shelf. It was just too much work to get. If I wanted to just play Everdell and maybe throw in one expansion, it was a pain. It was a pain to get everything. And so maybe that's the negative thing you've heard. As far as the actual game, I think there's a lot of fans here at the Dice Tower.
I think so. I've only played the app, and I really enjoyed it. I honestly really enjoy my little Everdell a lot, too, as like just a good,
Didn't play that one.
engine builder. Oh, yeah, it's fun.
Oh,
it's
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it's a fun game for like under 30 minutes. What are you about to say?
I also haven't played the new, what do they call it? The one that's like a 1.5.
Yeah, the Everdell Far Shore.
Far Shore, yeah, I haven't played that.
All right. Andrew H. asks, hey, loves the loop, played it several times since it's been in your top 100. Do you find it difficult to win? I'm just going to go ahead and say yes.
The answer is yes. It's definitely not a cakewalk. It's also not Ghost Stories. I have beaten it several times. But yeah, it's tough. Let me put it to you this way. There's a number of variants in the back of the rule book that make it a more challenging game. I ain't going near those. The base game is plenty challenging for me. So yes, and I don't think the expansions really fundamentally change the difficulty. I mean, there are ways to change the difficulty in the expansions, but the same is the case for the base game. So, short answer, yes, tough to beat.
Yeah, I've only played it a handful of times, mostly with you, and we just got destroyed like every time.
Yeah.
I'm skipping a few questions here because we are being a little bit more chatty.
Yep.
So don't mind that. Apologies if I skip over your question, but we'll have more Q&As. Let's see. Besides Iceland, asks Jack Yake. Besides Iceland, what's your favorite country you've never been to?
That's an interesting question. I have an answer, but it's just in that. The way it's phrased is funny to me. Italy is the short answer there. I think it's ridiculous that I haven't been there yet because it's where my father was born and lived until he was 18. I still have family there, although I don't know them well. I'm sure I've met a couple of aunts and things along those lines that are still there, great aunts. We also have some family in Argentina. Although they're Italian. But that's where I need to go next, and hopefully that's on the cards soonish.
We joke about Iceland. I don't remember how even it came up. Was it just because the cover of Earth is a photo from Iceland, and is that where it stemmed from?
I believe so, and then Tom and Z talked about going to that con in Iceland, and
and meeting the president of Iceland.
Right, yeah, and it looked amazing. And I don't want to say too much about this, but there was an opportunity actually for me to go to Iceland, and it just didn't work out for a couple of reasons. But I am hopeful that in the future I'll get a chance to go. We have some great friends actually that happen to live in Iceland. So when I say we, I mean Dice Tower folk, I suppose.
Right. It's funny because Wendy and I were just researching how to see Aurora Borealis, how to see the Northern Lights, and Iceland is
Yeah.
one of those spots that they really recommend. I was like, oh my gosh. So we watched some different like travel video recommendations and stuff, and I really would like to go to Iceland now.
Yep, and February is apparently a great time to actually see the Aurora Borealis in Iceland. So
I guess I gotta go. I'm gonna catch a flight. I'll talk to you later. Mike, you run the stream now.
you got it.
No, I really would like to do that. I would like to visit Korea. I have my family ancestries from Korea, and I've never been. And unfortunately, I don't speak the language, so that's going to make it rough.
Yeah, I don't speak Italian either, but I know a little bit.
Mike, maybe you could speak to this one here. Glitter M asks, best board game stores in Indianapolis for those of us who live in Indiana.
Yeah, Indianapolis actually it's an incredible gamer city. I mean, it's much better than Miami for a gamer, right? Miami has a real lack of good game stores there, at least if you're looking for big selections of games, right? I'm sure there are places where you have game spaces, but in Indianapolis, I personally have an affinity for the Game Preserve. There are three locations, okay, but they're still like a friendly local game store, right? They're owned by one person. There's one in Bloomington, which is the home of Indiana University, my alma mater. There is one in Greenwood, which is on the southeast side of Indianapolis. And there's one in Keystone, which is on the northeast side of Indianapolis. I actually worked for a while part-time just because I was basically like Norm from Cheers going in there. They all got to know me, and I'm like, you know what? And this is when I was teaching. I would work like every other weekend. Discount. Cha-ching! Anyway, but also they were also my friends working there. So the Game Preserve is great. Also, Family Time Games gets a shout out. They actually host us. They had for the last couple of years at Gen Con, and so there's also good games. I think they're still open downtown, although I didn't go there very often. So
yeah,
Game Preserve is my number one rec, and then Family Time. What's that?
Yeah, I was going to say Family Time has a really great playing area. They have a lot of play space.
Yeah, they do.
But that's also not at the sacrifice of a lot of inventory either. They're a good-sized store. I haven't checked out Game Preserve ever.
Game Preserve's it's great. Really, really good staff, which I think is huge for a local game store. Like knowledgeable in all the facets, right? So when I was working, obviously I would be focusing on the board games. Now, if someone came in with a collectible card game question, I was referring it to anybody but me, right? Do you have the Ravenous Homunculus Goblin card
from the Sailor Moon CCG
for Magic or whatever? I'm like, I got no idea. I see this Black Lotus. I'll give it to you for 50 cents. That's all I knew, right? So what I'm saying is they have people that kind of know all the aspects.
Every time they see you going near the near the CCG cards to sell them to people, they're like, "Silver alert! Silver alert!"
I take issue with it.
Oh, okay.
Also, you're correct.
Mike, this question's going to tear you apart. Favorite Asian publisher? The ones that are quite hard to get in the U.S. and Europe. You must pick one. Pick one, Mike.
I can only pick one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry.
All right, well, it's going to be Sashi and Sashi. But there are some fantastic Japanese or Asian. See, if you say Asian, that's a much broader scope. I would
Yeah.
still say Sashi and Sashi, but there's some great Korean publishers, Taiwanese publishers, um, Indian publishers now. Yeah, that's a a huge broad swath of humanity. Um,
I mean,
so
you're talking
yeah,
about like, I don't know, like a fifth of continental landmass, you know? I
right,
mean,
right, yeah.
yeah, I'm just going to go with one quick off the hip, and I think I'm going to say Mandu. I really like the stuff that Mandu Games does.
Mondu Games is great. I mean, Playtee is great. They're another Korean publisher. Itten, of course. I mean, Uchibakoya. There's some great Asian publishers out there.
Yeah. All right, Joao is asking here, are you guys excited about Arcs by Cole Worley? Uses trick-taking as an action selection mechanism. I'll just go ahead and I'll start off and say that I'm fairly ignorant to how the game works. I just know that when it comes through, I'm going to be playing it because I'm interested, and I like Cole's design philosophy. Even if it's not always like intuitive, it's always clever and interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, I think Oath and Root are fantastic designs, and PAX Premier Second Edition. Those are the Cole games offhand that I can think of that I've played. But they just require such a commitment. You know what I mean? So the short answer is yes. I'm excited and interested to play it. The addendum is that I hope it's as a result of someone that knows the game well teaching it to me. That would probably be the best opportunity to get the real experience. I remember Root, that was taught to me by somebody that knew the game well, and so I had a great introduction to that game. I know many people had a rough introduction to the game because they were trying to learn it themselves from the rule book, which has more of a war game style, which I know for a lot of people, myself included, honestly, is not their wheelhouse. So we'll
Yeah.
see. I'm assuming I'm going to play it, just as a result of this job, but I'd also be interested regardless.
Yeah. Kurt has a music question for us. Have you had a chance to listen to Sleep Token? Definitely worth a listen if you like Tool, dark wave with metal and R&B elements. Are you familiar with them, Mike? Because I'm not.
Sleep Token, I'm not familiar with. Huh.
But that sounds like a tasty mix of ingredients there for me. So I'm going to pull out my cellular telephonic device here.
Oh my goodness. Okay. The guy wears a mask. The masked UK band have formally, this is as of 2 days ago, they're signing to RCA Records. So now Sleep Token are label mates with Doja Cat and Britney Spears.
Heck yeah, where they belong.
They used to be through Spine Farm. That's a Finnish label. I'm pretty familiar with them and a lot of their stuff. I'll absolutely listen to it. It sounds intriguing. I mean, just from what little I know. Yeah, I'll check them out.
Yeah, no, I like that. I mean, anyone who comes from the Spine Farm, you can tell they've got a backbone. All right. Favorite Nordic country? Follow-up question, why is it Sweden?
So, go ahead. You can go, Chris.
This is hard because I'll be honest that I'm fairly ignorant about many of the details about the Nordic countries in general. But I know where a lot of my favorite music comes from. I know where a lot of my favorite meatballs come from. And that's Sweden.
Yeah, this is tough for me because I have actual, friends that live in Sweden. Hello, Marcus. But I have ancestry from Norway. My mom's side of the family is Norwegian, so I feel a certain affinity there. We talked about, is Iceland considered a Nordic country?
I don't remember offhand because of its,
Yeah, I don't
relative
remember
position.
either. I would assume Finland, right?
Nordic countries. I'm searching it right now.
Let's do that because our ignorance, is showing a bit.
It includes the sovereign states of Denmark, Finland, Iceland, Norway, and Swedeland. The autonomous territories of the Faroe Islands and Greenland.
Okay.
Did it say Iceland in there?
It did not. It said Greenland. Yeah,
okay.
I don't know. Iceland, is near the Arctic Circle, but that doesn't necessarily make it Nordic.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
so
we're
it's tough.
less
I would say
ignorant
it's a for me, and from what I understand, I could be again. This is very ignorant. Norway and Sweden are kind of where I kind of, but I was under the impression, and again, this could be absolutely wrong, that there's a bit of a rivalry between Norway and Sweden.
Oh, it later says Iceland, by the way. Sorry, it does say
Oh.
Iceland.
Okay,
Yeah, Reykjavik is
Yeah,
one of
this
the
is tough.
capitals. Okay.
let's
I
just
can
say that the Nordic countries look great. I'm interested. I like the cut of their jib. Yeah,
I would go visit literally any one of them if
I
given the
would
opportunity.
as well.
Right. All right.
Greenland might be tough because, from what I understand, Greenland is essentially a block of ice. But that's, of course, being very dismissive of, I'm sure, a rich culture there. I think it's not not a large area of it is habitable, I believe.
I think so, yeah. Brian Johnson, how's the Dice Tower van doing? Any more Georgia visits? Yes, the van has been... So it's funny because the van looks so cool and amazing, but it's also mostly a workhorse. We're hauling stuff between storage units and sheds, and it hauls a lot of like tables and equipment and stuff. But we are in talks of making another Gen Con drive up and seeing if there's a store or two that would like to host us along the way. And then you'll get to see it if you are at Gen Con. It'll be parked out on the street. We're working on all the official details, but yeah, the Dice Tower van lives on in our hearts and on the roads.
Yeah, if you see the Dice Tower van from the outside at Gen Con, you're definitely getting the best view of the Dice Tower van. You've seen those conversion vans out there that have like, fold-out couches and TVs and all this kind of stuff. That ain't the Dice Tower van. The Dice Tower van is a utilitarian vehicle. It serves a purpose.
That it does.
Carting stuff around.
Including humans up to Gen Con this year.
Sometimes humans, right.
Yeah,
right.
Mostly lumber and various table-like objects. Monica.
Yeah, honestly, Kenny, you never know what's going to be in that van at any given time if Kenny's at the helm. Yeah, it was very odd. I found several bags, huge trash bags full of cotton candy at one point. I had no idea what was going on.
All right.
That's not
Monica asks us here, Monica from Norway, my favorite Nordic country. Have you ever laughed so hard in a game that you needed to take a small break and compose yourself? Absolutely.
Yes.
Do you have any instances you can remember?
Time's Up. At Gearstones, this event that Dan Hughes did. I don't remember a lot of the specifics. Time, maybe the beverages that were imbibed at the time, but I know that I was like crying, laughing a number of times during that game.
Telestrations, we've played live a few times on the channel.
Yeah.
But then also when we played Doodle Dash live. That was I fell apart multiple times at Roy's drawing of nachos and Tom guessing horse off of this like atrocious stick figure. If you haven't watched the live play of Doodle Dash, do yourself a favor. It
was great.
Oh, it's so funny. The chat kind of jumped around, so we're just gonna kind of move along here because we're not gonna hit all these questions, folks. I apologize already. A couple of people are saying that they've had really good experiences being able to play games with us at conventions. I know
good.
I'm glad to hear that because I know not everybody does get to, but I really do encourage that if you have the opportunity to at least say hello, then please do. And if you see, I say this hesitantly. There are times where we are kind of in a rush trying to get somewhere, but for the most part, if you see us kind of standing around, walking around, I mean, saying hello is absolutely welcome and encouraged.
It is. Let me, Chris, I'm going to try something to express myself non-verbally. Let's see if this works.
Okay.
Did that work? Did you see anything on your end?
No.
Oh, shoot. Okay. On my end, there's all kinds of clapping emojis and hearts. All right.
Oh, yeah. Because Skype.
Just imagine that I'm awash in clapping emojis and hearts.
Let's see. So let's continue along here. Someone said none taken, so we must have been very offensive.
I wonder who and why. Okay.
Okay. I apologize. Let's see. Oh, question. My favorite thing are Chris and Mike skits. Please tell us, will there be more of these?
Absolutely not.
Okay. That settles it.
Yeah. I'm sure we will. They sometimes they are specifically requested from Tom, right? And he usually gives us an amazing amount of direction too. He's very, very specific with what he wants from us.
He's a Scorsese. What can I say?
Line S. That's sarcasm. Give me something funny for the cruise. Oh, okay. So we, try to come up with something funny for the cruise or whatever it may be. Sometimes they come from one of us. Yeah, I think you're usually the idea guy. And then we just kind of throw stuff around and hopefully something comes out of it that's funny,
Mike, I believe in praise. Like praise is best served individually, but occasionally you want to do a little bit of a public. I'd like to express something publicly that you are just one of the best improvisers, because I'll have like a half-baked idea, like I think this will be kind of funny. Want to try this, Mike? And then you'll take an idea, like you'll absolutely turn it into gold. So I appreciate you so much for that, man. But yes, it is oftentimes just kind of like, we sort of have an idea, let's go.
Yeah.
And
there is a secret to it. There is a secret to it. I'm being relatively serious here. The secret to doing these types of things is absolutely allowing yourself to look like a complete idiot, right? You have to, if you're going to do something stupid, you need to do something stupid, right? You need to go all in. That's the only way that those types of things work. Like with the we'll play it live stuff. I mean, once I kind of understood I knew what we were doing because it was always from the get-go a riff on the Bill O'Reilly thing, right? That even may have been my idea. I don't remember, but I was very familiar with the source material, right? And I'm like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm not going to, do it halfway. I'm going to blow out my vocal cords and be an idiot, right? So that's what I did.
Oh, man. Yeah, we filmed the Halloween one when you were last down.
That was fun. Yeah, the Halloween. That was fun, yeah. That was one that I wasn't sure was going to work until I saw it all come together. You know what I mean? Because we had to do multiple different things, and yeah, but that was great.
Yeah. Yeah, it is fun how sometimes something just feels right from the beginning, and the other times you're like, "Woof, I hope this turns out." But you're right, Mike. Getting rid of your shame, getting rid of throwing that all away it's going to get you far in life, I think.
That's correct.
All right, Don Hombre asks us, Chris and Mike, what are your favorite games to play specifically with each other?
Oh,
yeah. It's a deep question.
It is a good question. I would say I enjoyed playing The Hunt with you quite a bit. We played both sides, and I enjoyed that experience. Trying to think of other games like two-player games that you and I played, because you play a lot of two-player games with Wendy. But then sometimes you'll have me play them as well. Can you think of another example?
One of my favorite things, Mike, is that when a Garfield game game comes through,
Yeah,
you
that's
and I
true.
are always the most excited people. So I remember distinctly our first play of Wayfarers of the South Tigers when it came in, start of a new trilogy. You had learned it. You're like,
Yeah.
hey, Chris, hey, let's grab a table. Let's take some time. And that was just such a fun play. When you came
That's
over
true.
one
That was
time,
good.
you came over and played Paladins, the expansion, with Wendy and myself.
Yep.
And it is fun because we're very simpatico in our taste in Garfield games, particularly together. So
Yeah.
those are some really fun ones to play. But you're right, The Hunt is that's another great one. Speaking of, Paul Reed asks, what's the best Garfield game for a first timer? I'm likely to either be playing it solo or 2-player only.
I would. I'll just give mine. I kind of need to know what type of games that person likes. But if you're looking for the most kind of like easily approachable games, which may not even be the question that they were asking, I would say Architects or Raiders.
And I'll caveat
Raiders of the
though,
North Sea. Yeah,
I'll caveat that Architects of the West Kingdom I find is a better higher player count game.
I agree. It's not as good with two.
Yes. Solo,
So
it's
so yeah,
fine.
yeah, right. Absolutely. Because you have like the virtual opponent and it's a more specific experience. I think you can almost, honestly, put the Shipwrights Redux in there now too. Uh, I did I play that 2-player?
I've played it solo.
I can't remember. Have you played it 2-player?
No, I want to play it at 2. I think I'm going to take it this weekend.
Yeah,
play
I
it
haven't
with
played it
Wendy.
at 2 yet.
The reason that Mike
Right.
says that is because the drafting is a little bit different. 3 players
Yes.
higher versus 2 versus solo.
Correct.
But I think Raiders of the North Sea is probably the safest, best bet of getting that Garfield game's taste. It's a little bit lighter than some of their other recent games. If you really want something that's just like if you're a heavy gamer, then maybe jump to Paladins. That's great.
Yeah.
Solo, lower player count, solo 2-player.
Yeah. Actually, Paladins might be my favorite 2-player experience on the Garfield games lineup.
Yeah.
I think Paladins is great at 2.
I got to agree with you there, Mike. Bonnie Crew asks, are you both involved in the Dice Tower Discord? I've been thinking about joining, but I would totes stop procrastinating if I knew that you were there interacting with the chat.
Bonnie, Chris, and I are all over the Discord. I would say of the Dice Tower crew, look, Chris, let's toot our horns. Are you good with tooting our horns? I would say that Chris and I are by far, and it's not even close, the 2 most active members of the Dice Tower crew on the Discord. Chris more than me, but we're both on there a lot.
Yeah, and on Discord in general, I've really taken to it after we started. That was one of my pet projects. Was kind of, I think it was it Luke Pryor who helped really form it and everything.
I think Luke kind of set it up.
Yeah, and then Tom wanted in the office to kind of get some insight, and so I did a lot of work to help kind of set up the channels and stuff that are there. So it's a little bit of my pet project. I go in there almost daily, and I'm chatting with people, putting up pictures of games we've played and stuff. We started doing a game of the week. I kind of stole this from I think it's the Knizia one, the Knizia Discord that does like a game of the week, and those ones are all Knizia games. I assure you that it is not a weekly Knizia pick of the week here on the Dice Tower Discord.
Would be if I were doing it.
Sure. But yeah, so I think this last week was like Wingspan, and just like the week before that, Castle of Burgundy. We just pick different games each week. That's like a little focal point for discussion, and I've been enjoying that. That's been really cool to see. All right. 10 minutes, Mike. 10 minutes till the end of this stream.
10 minutes?
I know.
Goodness.
TV question. Mike, I don't even know if it's called TV anymore, but it's called Apple TV. Either of you see the Reluctant Traveler on Apple TV? It features Eugene Levy. My word, a wholesomely charming show. I made that last word up.
Okay. No, but I like Eugene Levy a lot. I mean, all the way back to SCTV days.
Yeah.
But I don't have Apple TV. So I have not seen it.
I haven't either. I I had a free trial of Apple TV for a week, and Wendy and I watched Severance, the one where it kind of splits your brain between your work and your home life show.
Yeah.
That was an incredible, incredible show. We finished it within the free week period, and then we cancel it right away. I know. Have you?
It's
watched...
fine. Look.
What was that, Mike?
No, I'm saying that's fine. I don't look. A lot of people do that. I don't think there's no issues with that in my mind.
Oh, it's not nefarious. No, it's completely within the realms of the law, right? FACC. What was the
FACC?
Fact. Yeah. I can't think of that three-letter organization name. Anyway,
FCC,
FCC.
Federal Communications. Yeah.
I was mixing that with the college
FAQ.
one.
FAFSA.
Not FAFSA. Sorry, that NCAA. There you go. That's why I got all mixed around here. I'm glad that everyone.
That was
is here
a journey, Chris.
Yes, I'm glad
That
everyone's
was a
here.
journey.
Almost 200 people are here to watch my brain slowly melt down on camera.
We need to issue a silver alert over that away.
It's brown alert, thank you. Brown alert is actually not something I ever want to witness, whatever that would mean.
No. Nope.
I imagine it would be poop related. I'm sorry, let's get back on track here. The Reluctant Traveler sounds nice. I like Eugene Levy. But no, I haven't even watched Ted Lasso. That one Severance show is the only thing I've watched on Apple TV.
Yeah.
All right. Ooh. Hey guys, what's a game that has flown under the radar in the last few years that you think more people should check out?
Okay, this is tricky because I have literally dozens of games that aren't released in the United States that I can answer that question with. But let me think of one that is readily available, but has flown under the radar. We're saying the last few years, huh? Mm-hmm. Let me look. If you have anything, Chris.
I
actually have an answer.
Okay, good.
You don't have one offhand?
No, I mean, my first go-to thought is, I feel like more people should be talking about Caesar's Empire. I feel like that's one that just, I adore it. I think it's amazing what it does in 20 minutes, and it has good feedback. It has good response, but I think it should be kind of blowing the doors down. Yeah,
my choice, I won't get it because it's under another game, is Tiwanaku. You and I have played that, actually, Chris. It's a deduction-style game. I really like this game. And the interesting thing is, I'm seeing this get played at our convention. So hopefully, it's not that old. If it wasn't last year, it was the year before. But no one seems to talk about it. And it's really, really good. So, I bounced really hard off of Turing Machine, which is a logic deduction game. But I really like Tiwanaku, which is a different type of logic deduction game.
Right. Let's see here. Ooh, Big Ben. Sorry, actually, the bigger Ben asks, you're both attending Dice Tower West, right? And just want to confirm, yes, we'll be there. In the flesh. Mike's not sending a hologram this time.
Too much work.
Yeah, too expensive. This is a very specific question.
Oh, that was the question?
That was it, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Any chance to brag about going to Dice Tower West? Doug has asked such a very specific question. Mike, I'm sorry that you can't be involved in this, but, maybe you can, right? Can we get a stretch goal for Chris to part his hair on the left for one video? Mike, if we both commit to this, would you part your hair on the opposite side and I part my hair on the opposite side? I think we could hit $700,000 pretty easy.
It would have to go back to that whole don't be afraid to be stupid thing, because I can't even imagine. So I already part my hair in the opposite way to most people because I'm left-handed. I believe that's the case. You know, I part my hair on my right side going towards the left.
And I do that
But
too.
you do the same.
Right. But I think that most right-handed people do go the opposite direction. They do a pull action. Do you see this, right? I do what I would
Yeah.
refer to as a push. So you pull, Mike. I push.
I pull.
Yeah, I don't know.
Gotcha.
This has always felt more natural to me. But then again, I am also a fashion moron. I say wearing this
Well,
excellent Kirby T-shirt, right? Like
I'm on the cutting edge of fashion, Chris, and but I've never known what is the correct way to part your hair. Look, I don't know. I think it's probably too late for a stretch goal now, but we can be thinking about next year, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. That's 700,000. Here we come. Joao asks, how do you join the Dice Tower Discord? And Mike Heller put a link in the live chat. Thank you for that. I think
Good.
that there are
Thank you,
links in the video descriptions below as well.
I think you're right.
I think
we probably have that.
I think we're going to clean up our video descriptions at some point because there's a lot of information in there, and I don't fault anyone for not being able to find like a specific thing, but I do think it is in there.
I believe you're right.
Mike, before we started this, I kind of rewatched some of a video from 3 years ago. I told you about this, that back when in 2020, the Dice Tower was doing the daily chats, and chat day 56, this is 3 years ago, you invited me to come on and do a question and answer daily chat video with you. You were the one hosting, and I was the guest. I was not an employee of the Dice Tower at the time. That would have to be more than 3 years ago. That was almost 4 years ago, Mike.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Wow. And so someone asked this same question at that time, and I want to bring this full circle. Yusuf.
Wow.
Yusuf Alfili asks, what is the board game that would make a great movie? The same question was asked 4 years ago.
Interesting. And did we both answer?
Did both answer, yes.
I mean, I have an answer that just jumps to mind, but I hope it's not the one. I think this game is too new to have been my choice last time. Do you remember what I said last time?
It was something really dumb. No, I don't remember. Dang it! Yeah, I just rewatched this, like I said, a few hours ago. Not all of it, just chunks of it. I can't. I can't imagine how terrible it would be to listen to us for an hour straight, Mike. To be clear.
That's correct. No, that's not going to happen. I would guess. I would say Mind Management, and this is a little bit of a cheat because it's a game that's based off of a graphic novel. But I think that it's a graphic novel that would make a great movie. I even seem to remember hearing that maybe there was something in development with Netflix. Not positive about that, but Mind Management is such a cool world and storyline. You know, it deals with the idea of government, shadowy government organizations that are trying to use the special kind of psychic abilities of different people that they put them out there as being almost weaponized, but then they rebel against this mind management corporation. I think that would be an amazing movie. It's right there, actually. There's the game.
No, that's true. So what I said 4 years ago was Twilight Imperium. I think that'd make a great movie, right? Big space opera. You could make the joke, Star Wars Rebellion should be a movie. But I'm going to go with, I just had one on mind, a more modern one. I'm going to go with Deep Rock Galactic.
Okay.
Because it's based off of the video game Deep Rock Galactic. And I didn't realize this from just playing the board game, because the board game, you're these dwarves digging in a mine and like firing these submachine guns in outer space and stuff, and rocket launchers and flamethrowers at these like buggy creatures. So the video game has a very sardonic approach to it, where these dwarves' lives, they're not heroes, Mike. They're not these like grand,
Yeah.
glorious warriors. They're just super expendable corporate drones.
Sounds
so-
fantastic.
It would be really funny because it's very tongue in cheek, and these dwarves
Yeah.
are like all in. They're just all in, rock and stone forever, and they don't realize that they're just being sent like sheep to a slaughter for corporate profit and stuff. So I think you could do something really
Yep.
fun with that movie. I would watch that in a heartbeat.
That sounds good.
All right, Mike, that brings us to 11 o'clock. And sadly, all good things must come to an end. I hope that you've enjoyed your time being able to talk with the most important person at the Dice Tower, me. Been enjoying yourself, Mike?
I was up until quite recently. I was doing really well, feeling good about things. Self-esteem at a high level. I was top of the world, Chris. Right now, though, I don't know. I'm feeling a little bit disrespected. Feeling a little bit shamed. I had a great time, Chris. It was fun.
Had a great
Thanks
time,
for
too.
having me. Thanks for having me aboard on this Q&A. I had a good time. Great questions as always from the best live chat in the business. Very excited about Dice Tower West. I hope we can see some of you folks there. And yeah, had a good time, Chris.
Yeah, if you want to continue the chat and everything, join the Dice Tower Discord. We have a Facebook group and everything. There's plenty of ways to keep in touch with us and the other great people in the chat as well. And remember that Monday we'll be off, but Tuesday you can come back and see a live stream of Inferno coming up from Red Mojo Games. Mike, there are two games currently, or that are about to launch on Kickstarter, based on Dante's Inferno. We're playing
Really?
both of them. We're playing both of them this next week, Tuesday and Friday. So,
Wow. Interesting. I'm going to be having a live play, but it's not for another couple of months. So I don't know if we want to, let the cat out of the bag just yet.
oh, okay.
Although I have the game sitting literally right next to me because
Fascinating.
I have to learn it for this playthrough I'm going to be doing.
I see. Well, I think we should keep cats in
Live.
bags, probably. We're gonna sign off here, and if the camera accidentally tilts that way, then I'll know that it was the gnomes all along.
Oh, that let the cat out of the bag?
Correct, precisely. Oh, we better go. I'm Chris. That's Mike.